Hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm glad to see you today once more. Today we begin our lecture on public relations. As a marketer who is in the business of communicating and delivering value to the customers, it is imperative to state that public relations is very, very vital because it deals with how you communicate with your publics. It's not just about the customers at this point, but the entire stakeholders, because some people that do not purchase your business, some people that do not buy from you, they also have interest in your company. As it relates to societal marketing, we are no longer dealing about just servicing the needs and wants of our customers, but actually looking at how the businesses we operate impact the general environment. Are you getting the point? Okay. So as an introductory word, public relation deals with the image of a company. The corporate image is shaped by different events and factors that occur both inside and outside the company. So a customer comes to your company to seek for assistance with regards to how to use a product. The way your employees approach and attend to the customer can also shape how the customer sees you. Are you getting the point? That is inside factor. Then outside factor could relate to how the businesses are regulated by law or the level of political stability, corruption, and so on and so forth. They can also shape the image of your company. There are companies that are known for being so aggressive with engaging in corrupt practices. Are you getting the point? So their image are shaped around the external influence of their business environment. Okay. Therefore, there is a need for companies to monitor and shape the way customers see them. Yes, if a customer is seeing your company as bad, or you are being perceived in a negative way, it is necessary, it is vital that you go about changing that image, because the perceptions customers have about your company can be translated to perceptions about your product, and definitely it will affect your overall sales. Are you getting the point? So for instance, if your company is known in general to be run by people that exhibit certain bad or negative characters, then customers could eventually translate such into your product, thinking that your product will be of poor quality, while in essence it could be of a good quality. Are you getting the point? So how your company is viewed can affect overall perceptions of the customers as it relates to your product. Okay, that is why we say it is important for you to monitor and measure how your customers perceive you in general. Are you getting the point? Yeah. So now, before we could proceed further, it is important that we actually define what public relations is all about. We have said that it deals with strategic communication between the company and the customers. However, we need to opine a very sound definition of what it is. Nevertheless, we must state that it's difficult defining public relations because it has been viewed by different people in different ways. Are you getting it? So the different scholars have opined their own definition or conceptualization of what they feel public relations is all about. However, for the purpose of this lecture, we are going to adopt the definition that public relations is the art and science of analyzing trends, things that are happening in the business sphere, okay? Predicting the impact of such trends, okay? Counseling organization leaders and implementing planned programs of action which will serve both the organizations and the public's interest. Okay, so as a someone that is into the beauty segment or beauty sector, you are into beauty products, for instance, during the era of human hair, the era of bone straight and so forth, and so on and so forth. That is a trend. People were picking interest because they perceive or conceive such product to be of high quality. So as a public relations officer who is in working with an organization that is into beauty, the implication is that you will now have to suggest to them that such beauty products are now trending in the market. Therefore, it is imperative, it is important, it is pivotal that our company, that is the company you are working for, engage its activity to cover that broad range of products, because trends normally come and go. So the ability of your company to tap into it will actually have overall impact on your sustainability. Today's world, we are in the trend of artificial intelligence, whereby apps like ChatGPT can now be able to provide tailored services with regards to any form of writing, research, and so on and so forth. So other social media apps like Google database, Google search, Facebook, and so on are seeing where Microsoft, Yahoo, and so on and so forth are trying to integrate this artificial intelligence into their business sphere, so that instead of losing their customers entirely to the ChatGPT enterprise, their customers will be able to enjoy what they are offering presently together with the future of a ChatGPT. Are you getting the point? So the trend that is happening in the market, as it shifts, your company has to shift with it. Wherever direction it is going, your company has to go with it. That is what we are trying to say. That public relations is all about studying and analyzing the trends, of course, and then predicting the outcome or consequence or impact of those trends on your business performance. Then recommending the best way to move in line with that trend to your leaders and the organization managers. Are you getting it? However, this is a general view. Now we are going to narrow definition to specific elements of public relations, one that will allow us to analyze in detail and also be able to buffer our solutions as it relates to the functions of public relations. Okay, so as defined by Hallow, okay, public relations is a distinctive management function. Pay attention, distinctive, that is unique. Then it is also a management function, okay, which helps the company to establish and maintain mutual lines of communication. Mutual, that means the company goes to the customer to get what the customers need, then deliver products or service that meet that need, then communicate back. The customer uses, if the customer has any issue, communicate back to the customer. So it is a two-way symmetric communication between the company and the customer. Are you getting the point? Okay. Understanding, accepting, and cooperating between a company and the publics. So public relations is a distinctive management function which helps to establish and maintain mutual lines of communication. Communication 1, understanding 2, acceptance and cooperation, okay, between a company and its publics. And then it involves the management of problems or issues. The management of problems or issues. Who are the publics in a company? They include the customers, the employees, the society, that's communities and NGOs and governments and so on and so forth. Anybody that has interest in the company is considered a public to the company. So besides making sure that you pay your employees on time and providing products and services that meet the needs and wants of the customers, you also have a role to make sure that your business does not negatively affect the life of the communities where you maintain your operation, and that it is done in line with the laws and regulations that guide business operation within that community. Okay, so that is the public. It is now beyond the customers. Are you getting the point? Okay, then it helps the management to keep informed and responsive to public opinions. We are now breaking the definitions to represent different functions. Yes, what the public think about your company is necessary. For instance, in Nigeria, there was a car company, a transport company that was broadly known for being involved in too many accidents. People started to shift focus from that company, and they started using it less. Although the price was cheap, people were not engaging in their services. What did the company do? The company had to rearrange its braking system so that its cars cannot travel beyond 100 kilometers per hour. Then at the end of the day, it came back to communicate to the customers through different platforms that they now have a sound system whereby their cars can no longer drive beyond 100 kilometers per hour. That is, they are now able to control the recklessness of their drivers and then provide customers enhanced safety. Okay, so nowadays when you are using their car, you could see at the back where it is written, if you have any complaint about the way this driver is driving, please do call so and so number. They were able to change their image from being viewed as a company that's involved in so much accidents to being one of the leading enterprise in terms of road transport in Nigeria today. Are you getting the point? Okay. So it also helps to define and emphasize the responsibilities of the management to serve the public interest. Which department is to do this, which department is to do that. At the end of the day, the broad essence is to make sure that they are able to service the interests of the public. Okay, it serves the management to keep abreast and and effectively utilize change. They are not just in line with the trends, but they are able to reshape their company objective in such a way that it goes in line with the trends. Whatever the market is demanding, then they reshape and adopt, then make more sales at that particular point in time while still moving with the market trends. Okay. It also serves an early warning system to help anticipate trends. Of course, if customers are complaining that your cars are usually involved in road accidents, then it's an early warning system that they will likely stop using your transport system. Okay, what do? You have to start rearranging, reprogramming, repositioning yourself in such a way that whatever negative views the customers are conceiving your company to be of can easily be wiped out or reshaped to a more positive view or conceptualization. Are you getting the idea? Okay, the instance of the transport company we made earlier, that is what I mean. Okay, then finally, it uses research and ethical communication techniques as its principal tools. So when it comes to public relations, if you are asked what are the principal tools in public relations, number one is research, number two is ethical communication technique. Why do we say research is number one? Because to service a customer, you must first understand what the customer needs and wants. How do you do that? Of course, you go out there to conduct research. You ask them questions about their needs and wants. They respond. Then you come back to your company with it, and you are able to develop products and services that meet that exactly. Then use, of course, ethical communication tools such as road shows, televisions, and so on and so forth, instead of going through the back door or using forced persuasions on the customers. Are you getting the idea? So basically, we are adopting the definition by Halo because it encompasses every element about public relations as well as giving us a basic function of what public relations does. Are you getting it? Okay, so let us forge ahead. Now we are going to consider public relations and other concepts. Okay, first we look at public relations and marketing. Like we said earlier, public relations deal with management of communication between an organization and its publics, customers, employees, committees where they operate, NGOs, governments, and so on and so forth. Okay. However, on the other hand, marketing deals with creating, okay, communicating, delivering and exchanging value with customers to meet their needs and wants, of which the customers have to pay you in return. So basically, public relation is narrowed down, but marketing is broad because marketing also covers public relations. That is why in so many marketing textbooks you tend to see the topic of public relations, and we also study it as a subject as in the marketing profession, just like we are doing right now. Are you getting the point? So public relation focuses entirely on strategic communication between a company and its publics, that is beyond customers. But marketing focuses on delivering value to the customers with the intention to generate profit for the company. Okay, so public relations doesn't care about generating profit, just want to reposition the company where it's supposed to be in the mind of the customers. Okay, but marketing on the other hand is focused more on giving them value and then generating profit for the company. However, they work in pari passu, they work together, because when you are able to reposition the company where it's supposed to be in the mind of the customers, then the customers will gain higher interest on the product or service being offered by the company, which will eventually translate to higher purchase and then higher revenue for the company. Are you getting the point? So to meet your marketing objective, you must be able to engage in aggressive public relations targets as well. Are you getting it? Okay. So we also look at public relations and advertising. As we said already many times, that public relations deals with strategic communication between a company and its publics. On the other hand, advertising presents the most persuasive possible selling message to the right prospect, that is customer segment, for the product or service at the lowest possible cost. Okay, they are more of persuading the customers to buy, to try a product or service based on their need and their wants. That is what advertising focuses more on. On the other hand, public relations is just focused on communicating the overall value, potentials, image of the company to the public, not to convince them to buy. Okay, they just want to reposition the company where it's meant to be, to make sure that they are viewed as positive or viewed in a positive way. Are you getting the idea? But the intention there is not to make them to buy. However, advertising, the target is to persuade the customer, to remind them, to encourage them to purchase a particular product or service. So that is the difference. The difference in this sense is that public relations is focused on company image, but advertising is focused on making sales for the company. Okay, so let us continue. With that done, we are now going to consider public relations history. That is the history of public relations. But since the definitions of public relations are broad and sometimes difficult to conceptualize, you should also expect that the history will also be difficult to trace, because the different events have occurred in the course of public relations as a concept. Okay, however, we are going to make use of Grunig and Hans 4 models to trace the history of public relations. So in considering the history of public relations, Grunig and Hans provided 4 steps that can be used to trace the overall history of public relations. The first is press agentry and publicity model. This model deals with securing coverage for the company, making sure that the company appears in the public eye, maybe paying more, buying more of air views and air shows for the company. Okay, and then the essence is not just about truth. Now, truth is not a required or absolute requirement. The focus is just to make sure that the company is seen wider, the coverage is wide, that a lot of people can see the company, a lot of people can conceive their own views about the company. A lot of people can have their views reshaped, remodeled in line with the objectives of the company. Are you getting the idea? So press agently and publicity is just all about making the company more visible. The focus is not trying to communicate the truth about the company to the customers or to the public. No, they just want to make sure that the company appears at different platforms, different channels of communication. Are you getting it? Okay. So second is the publicity information model. This kind of communication provides information to the people. Then when it is providing information to the people, then it has gone beyond just creating awareness. Then there becomes the need where accuracy is now important and essential. When you want to tell the people that this is what the company does, if you want to tell the people that the company is into biscuit manufacturing, then you must be able to state the kind of biscuit they manufacture, the ingredients used in manufacturing the biscuit. Are you getting the point? So you are now providing information, public information model. You are providing information to the public. Therefore, you must specifically state what the company is doing and how it is doing it. Are you getting it? Okay. So the fourth is a two-way asymmetric public relations. This model introduces the idea of feedback or two-way communication between a company and the public. However, it is important to state that asymmetric is also an imbalanced way of communication, because the intended change is in the audience attitude or behavior and not actually on what the company is doing. So the fact that the company we gave you instance, the transport company we gave this instance in the earlier discussion, has been able to reduce their speeding system to 100 km per hour. And they came back to tell the customers, the passengers, that they have done so to ensure their safety. Does not entirely translate to the fact that the customers will now start using the company. It is the customer's attitude, it is their intention, it is their behavior that will determine the overall outcome. Okay, even till today, there are some people that still don't use that particular transport, although they have been able to rearrange their safety measures to ensure that customers now feel safer with their company. Are you getting the point there? The people that have graduated from the safety area are now making complaints with regards to comfort. They say that when you board the car, you always see them loading human beings as if they are used. The space is too tight. They are always congested with different kinds of luggages that block the overall comfort while using the vehicle. Okay, this is another issue they are now complaining about. Okay, so this two-way asymmetric model is unbalanced, is unequal. What the company is giving to the public cannot be measured with what the public is bringing back, because the company is just communicating its value and access to the public, but it is the public that now decide what they will do based on their attitude and intention. Are you getting the whole gist? Okay, so that is why we say it is not equal, it is asymmetric in nature. Okay, then the final is two-way symmetric. Now we are looking at an equal form of communication. Two-way symmetric public relations. This model is sometimes described as the ideal form of public relations, because what the company is giving the public is what the public is giving the company. So company says we are now offering better quality products, then the public understands and comes to buy. Are you getting the idea? So the communication is flowing parallel on the same equal level of understanding. Okay, it describes a level of equality of communication not often found in real life. That is because it is very difficult. As a company, it is very difficult to say that whatever you tell your customers to do, the entire customer market will do it. It's difficult. Even if a 95 or 99% does that, there's still a little percentage of people that will likely not do it. Are you getting the idea? Okay. Where each party is willing to alter their behavior to accommodate the need of the other. Are you seeing it? So, aside the company changing its braking system to make sure that the cars do not travel beyond 100 kilometers per hour, will the entire customers that have changed transport system as a result of the safety issues recorded come back? It's always difficult to say so. That is why we say that although it is ideal, it is often difficult. It is often difficult in real life. Are you getting the point? Okay, so another main characteristics of this form of communication is that it's more of dialogue. The company invites these customers, they sit down in a round table to discuss about how to move the company forward. Are you getting the point? Okay. Whereas in the other forms of in the other model, they just sit down in the company, plan whatever they want to do, then paste the image, paste the communication, paste the message, paste the information to the customers for them to now react or behave in a way they feel they're supposed to be, or in line with the company's overall objective. Are you seeing the difference there? Okay, so now we have handled these four models. Okay, which is the agency, yes, and then two-way asymmetric, two-way symmetric, and of course we also looked at public information model. Okay, so they can now be used to trace the history of public relations per se. Okay, and today we can say that we are at the age of two-way symmetric public relations, because we are now in the age of social media, where companies can easily communicate with their customers through different channels of communication. Customers will come to complain exactly what they want. Companies will listen to what they want, and of course buffer solutions to ensure that the products or services meet these exact needs and wants. Okay, so let us proceed. Now we are going to consider public relations and communications. Okay, to proceed in this discussion, is also necessary to define what communication is all about. Although we have already said that public relations is all about strategic communication, but we have not been able to conceptualize what communication is all about. Usually it involves two people or more for the fact, or based on the fact that one has to speak while the other has to listen. However, let us discuss it in detail. All you need to communicate is someone else. Okay, this is according to Torio. All you need to communicate is someone else. You must have someone that is listening to you. Just as this in the case of this lecture, for instance, I am communicating, I am speaking, and you are listening. And if you have any question that you or challenge throughout the course, you can always communicate by commenting at the comment section, and then I will come back to answer it. So we need each other to communicate. Are you getting it? It takes two to speak, okay, whereby one is speaking and the other is what? Listening or hearing. Are you getting it? And Wendell and his colleague also went further to say that there are two main traditions in defining communication. One is the one-way transmission model, and the other is the two-way exchange model. Okay, in the one-way transmission model, I am communicating, you are just listening. At the end of the day, you can proceed with whatever you want to do. You have just finished listening. Then two-way exchange model is the situation whereby after communicating, you ask questions and then I answer. Okay, then you ask again and then I answer. So there is an exchange of communication between the speaker and the listener. So that is basically what we mean by two-way exchange model. Okay, so going further, Tierderson and Tierderson, they also define communication as the transmission of information, ideas, attitude, or emotions from one person to another or a group of people. Okay, primarily through symbols. Okay, although I am speaking, I'm making gestures, I'm making signs and movements with my hands because I want you to understand what I am saying. Sometimes the pitch could be high, sometimes it could be low, depending on the quality of information I want to communicate, the quality of information I want to relay. Okay, so why do we say it includes beyond, it goes beyond information? Because an idea is also a communication. When you have conceptualized something and written it down, pass it to someone else to read and understand, that is communication. Attitude is also communication. If you are angry with your friend, the attitude you give is a communication that I am angry. If you are happy, the attitude you give, the welcoming attitude you give is also a form of communication. Okay, and also emotion. When you are emotional about a situation or circumstances you find yourself, it could alter your overall behavior. Okay, so communication is beyond speech. It includes the passage of information, ideas, attitude, or emotion from one person to another. Okay, so we're going further. However, although these views have presented communication as an exchange between two people in the form of idea, information, emotion, and so on and so forth, Rogers and Kincaid define communication as a process in which the participants create and share information with one another in order to reach a mutual understanding. Okay, in this lecture, the view is that in the course of this lecture, I will be able to explain what public relation is all about. And if you have questions, you ask, then I will explain. If you have more questions, you ask, I will continue to explain until we now have mutual understanding. Mutual understanding in the sense that I've been able to deliver the lecture the way I'm supposed to do it, and then you have been able to understand it the way you're supposed to understand it. So I do believe that this is the main model that we should adopt for this lecture, because it deals with an end. Others seems to deal with more of the means, but here we have an end, because the end of it is to have mutual understanding between the speaker and the listener. Okay, through exchange of different forms of communication. Okay, with communication defined, we can now proceed to look at the different levels of communication. Basically, we have 4 levels of communication. First is intrapersonal. That is the communication that happens within our thoughts, which is a function of our neurons. The neurons in the brain that process things. You have the conceptualization, the thought, the feeling that you want to be a rich man. That is, it is happening within your thoughts. You are communicating with yourself. Okay, that is intrapersonal. The second is interpersonal, conversation. Okay, so you have the thought that you want to be a rich man. Then you are now conversing or communicating with other rich men to understand how they did it, the steps they followed, so that you'll be able to also follow it and get to that stage in life. Okay, once the communication becomes two-way, it is now interpersonal. Okay, the third is small group communication, just like this lecture, between me as the lecturer and the students. Are you getting the point? Okay, that is the third form of or third level of communication. It moves from your thoughts to one person, then to a small group. Then finally, we have mass communication, whereby you engage the entire audience. You engage a huge, significantly high amount of audience. Okay, are you getting the point? In the class, I could be engaging 10 or 20 students in the class. That is small group. But via this YouTube channel, I have the potential to engage the whole world. So it becomes mass communication. Okay.